I raided my fabric stash and turned scraps into 4 fall decor pieces that don't look like scraps at all. Let's make some cozy fabric fall DIYs together. Hey y'all, I'm Kelley. Welcome to Cozy Living, where we're turning our home into a warm little haven, one project and one cozy corner at a time. Let's get into it. Today, I'm using up some of my fabric stash to make 4 fall decor pieces. Grab your hot glue gun because we're getting started. For this first project, I wanted to keep it no-sew. Now, if you've got a sewing machine, it'll definitely make this easier, but I wanted you to know you don't have to have one to make this. I started with this template, and I'll leave a link down below to a Google Drive folder where you can grab it for yourself. Just resize it to whatever size you'd like your candy corn to be. Now, cut a piece of fabric using the whole template. This is for the back. I want mine to be one solid piece of fabric back there, but if you wanted it to match the front exactly, you could cut out each individual shape in different fabrics instead. Next, cut apart the template into each individual shape. Then pick out which fabric you want for each one and cut those pieces out. Next, I frayed the top edge of the second and third front pieces by pulling out a few fabric strands just to give it that worn, cozy look. Now it's time to hot glue everything together. Start by laying down the top piece, then glue the second piece to it, and finally glue on the third piece, layering them so you get that stacked dimensional look. With right sides facing each other, hot glue around the edges, leaving an opening at the bottom so you can turn it right side out. Now it's time to turn it right side out and start stuffing it with polyfill. Once it's as full as you'd like, close up the bottom with hot glue. Now for the fun part, decorating. I took a tag punch to some fall-themed scrapbook paper I had on hand, then wrapped some raffia around the candy corn and added the tag. These turned out so cute. They're the perfect little piece to add to a shelf or just set around your space wherever you need a little extra fall charm. Next up, I wanted to make a pumpkin. I used a plate as my template, tracing around it to start with a round piece of fabric. Next, I took some embroidery thread and stitched around the outer edge, going in and out of the fabric. Once you've stitched all the way around, it's time to fill the little sack you've created with polyfill. Then pull the thread tight and tie it off in a knot. Now take a needle threaded with a long piece of embroidery thread and pull it from the bottom of the pumpkin up through the top, pulling it tight and holding the end in your hand. You'll keep repeating this all the way around, and that's what creates those classic pumpkin bumps. Fair warning, this step is a little tricky to keep on camera since you're holding tension with both hands, so if I go out of frame some, that's why. I had a few pieces of wood in my stash to make the stem. Honestly, I can't even remember where I got them, but I decided on the larger piece since I felt like it fit the pumpkin best. I grabbed a few pieces of fabric and cut out some leaf shapes. Then I added some thin gold ribbon down the center of each one for a bit of veining. Then I hot glued the leaves and the stem on. And that's it. Just some scrap fabric and another sweet little shelf item to add to your fall decor. For this next fabric pumpkin, I've got the link to the template in the description box. I used my sewing machine on this one, but if you don't have one, you could definitely hand stitch it instead. Honestly, it would give it more of that cottage look. Now stitch the pumpkin pieces back together so you end up with that quilted looking pumpkin. Now it's time to choose your main fabric. I used something a little thicker for this one, just so the seams of the pieced pumpkin wouldn't show through. Place your pieced pumpkin face down onto the back of your main fabric, then take some embroidery thread, you'll want a color that stands out, and stitch around the edges with large stitches to give it that handmade look. Now you'll cut out the front fabric to reveal the pumpkin underneath. I used my larger scissors for this. Looking back while editing, small sewing scissors probably would have made it easier to be more precise, so keep that in mind if you're trying this yourself. You could hang this like a tapestry with a piece of wood at the top and bottom. But I decided to use this thrifted frame instead to put it in. I think it turned out so cute, I put it right up on the mantle. This was actually my first time trying that quilted look, so I already know all my quilters out there are screaming at their screens right now. But hey, I'm proud of how it came out. This next one is a scarecrow I actually made many years ago, and I use him all the time in my decorating, so I wanted to recreate him for you. I started with small styrofoam balls, and I used the small Dollar Tree pots for the hat. But honestly, While shopping for this project, I found some paper pots that work way better. The terracotta ones made it a little top-heavy. Now you'll decide on the size you want. You'll cut one ball in half, one half becomes the base, and the other becomes the head. I used a Dollar Tree skewer stick to attach them together. Then I cut a piece of fabric to the size I needed. This will depend on the size you want your scarecrow to be. I folded it in half and cut a square out of each bottom side so it forms a T shape with the fold at the top. This is going to be your shirt. I hot glued around the edges, right sides facing each other, leaving an opening for the arms and bottom. I had just cut a small hole for the neck. Now for the pants, you'll need 2 pieces. These will be more of a rectangle shape. Cut a V out of each one. Then glue together, leaving the opening for the legs and waist. Cover the head with some batting, then wrap it with a piece of white fabric. Now, my original scarecrow from years ago has such a smooth face, I honestly don't remember how I pulled that off. But since this is a scarecrow, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's totally okay if yours isn't perfectly smooth. I used hot glue, then tied a string around the neck to help hold it in place. I had to pull the bottom half of the styrofoam ball off in order to get the shirt on, then used polyfill to stuff it. After that, I glued the half ball back on and stuffed the pants. To hold the pants on, I tucked the shirt into the pants, then used twine to secure everything in place. Now you'll stuff the ends of the arms and legs with raffia to give it that classic hay stuffed look. I'd add a dab of glue to help hold it in place and then tie some twine around each one for that authentic scarecrow finish. I cut a few small squares and hot glued them onto the pants to look like little patches. I used some ink to give a little grunge look to the hat and face. Now take some raffia and glue it inside the paper pot to create the hair. I just packed it all in, then trimmed it down to the length I needed. I glued the pot onto the head, then grabbed some paint and painted on a classic scarecrow face. To finish off the hat, I added a cute flower and a little vine. Now, isn't that just the cutest thing ever? He's such a great addition to any fall decor. And there you have it, 4 fabric fall projects, all made almost all from things I already had in my stash. I hope this gave you some inspiration to dig through your own fabric scraps and see what you can create. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next project. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today, and I'll see you in the next video.